In this lesson, we are going to take a look at the tagging function within Concordance 2007. Tagging is basically the issue coding portion of a document review, and it really is one of Concordance's core functions along with searching. Tagging generally means looking at a Concordance record and its image, usually within Opticon or some other image viewer, and then checking off an issue box to determine if a document within the database is relevant or non-relevant. In a typical review, what you will likely see is two windows open like what I have now on the screen here. The Concordance database with the list of tags and issues opened on the left-hand side, and the corresponding Opticon image open on the right-hand side. A team of reviewing attorneys will then browse through the records in a predetermined order, looking at the image on the right and making a determination on the relevance and issues of the document by checking the boxes on the left. Obviously, depending on the nature of the investigation or litigation, the issue codes available here on the left may be a very long and complex nested list. This use of the nested checkboxes here on the left is probably the most common method of tagging documents you'll likely see today, but it is not the only tagging method. In the next lesson, we'll look at issue coding using the edit view, but for right now we will focus on the use of the checkboxes. To begin, let's go back to our basic Concordance screen. In order to work with tags, I'm going to open up the Task tab on the left here that we have hidden during the lessons so far. Going down this list of tasks available, the option that I want to make use of is Tags, which is denoted by this paperclip icon here. Once open, what you'll likely already have is this default tag. The default tag is part of every newly created Concordance database, which you can either keep or delete. For those of you who are familiar with Concordance 8 or older versions, you'll see that Concordance 2007 has made some great improvements to the display of tags. There is now foldering available, whereas the previous versions of Concordance only had checkboxes. The creation of these tags and folders are fairly straightforward. All I have to do is right-click over a blank space of this tag menu, select New, and choose either Tag or Folder. If I select Folder, I can create a new folder to hold a nested list of tags. For instance, I can create a folder called Privilege. Then I can right-click over the newly created folder and select New Tag. Here I can begin to create a set of new checkboxes that should go under this Privilege folder, such as Attorney-Client and maybe Work Product. And if I were working within a network environment with multiple users accessing the same database, I can also create a personal folder. The tags here would only be visible to me personally and not seen by anyone else. And once I have created the tag, I can flip through my database or flip through the images and mark the checkboxes as I see fit. And in using the table view, I can also choose multiple records by holding down the Ctrl or Shift key and then drag them directly onto the tag that I want. So if I select these documents and drag them over to the Important tag, these documents will be tagged as important. Instead of dragging and dropping, I can also use the Apply tag to Records and the Remove tag from Records option to do the same thing. This is a short and simple way of mass applying tags to a group of records or removing them. In addition to creating and marking tags, the tag screen also has several other options that resemble searching. Within this right-click menu, we have the option to create a query from the tag, meaning if I choose a tag, say this tag here of Important, I can right-click, select Create Query from Tag, and only the documents that contain the Important tag would appear. We can clearly see that within the table menu, that as I choose the tags, the list of records display shortens or lengthens depending on how many documents contain the tag that I am interested in. I can also do the reverse to apply or remove tags from a specific set of documents currently on screen by using the Tag All Documents in Query or Untag All Documents in Query functions. These two options allow me to apply or remove specific tag to all the documents currently displaying on screen. The term query here refers to a subset of the documents which results from a search. Now, in addition to the main tagging screen, there are two other tag-related screens that have been added to Concordance 2007. That is the Tag History and Tag Statistics screen. The Tag History screen keeps a running log of who checked off which tag. It has 3 columns of information: the name of individuals, where the name is generally your Concordance login or window login, the tag that was made, and the date and time that the tag was made on. This information is probably familiar to you if you have used Concordance's Tag History CPL in previous versions. We'll discuss CPLs at a later lesson, but this would be the same type of information that the Tag History CPL would generate. Basically a simple log of who applied the tag or who removed the tag. One thing I would like to point out regarding this history is that depending on your version of Concordance, the tag history may not be 100% accurate. Information displayed sometimes can lag a bit and may not properly refresh itself. So just keep in mind that you'll want to open up the record a few times to make sure you are getting the most current information. The next screen is the Tag Statistics screen. It's broken down by tag count and then by user count. The top portion of this screen shows the list of tags created and available, and next to each tag is a count of how many documents in the database have been tagged. The bottom portion of the screen is broken down by user, basically a total of how many different tags a particular user has applied. The Tag Statistics screen allows the restriction of the date ranges that you can call up the information for. So, if the database review has been going on for several months, I can limit the tagging data to a specific range so that the information does not become overwhelming. And because tags can be applied on the fly during the review, when these statistics are pulled, there's also a refresh button that will capture any new counts as you look through the screen. Now, for those of you who are familiar with the previous versions of Concordance, you'll recall that most of these options we just went through for mass tagging records and creating queries from tags were all done within the Tag Management screen. And depending on the version of Concordance you're using, that Tag Management screen is still available. The latest version of Concordance 2007, however, the Tag Management screen has been significantly overhauled. Most of the tagging functions we just went through are generally found here under Tools, Manage Tags and Issues. This menu allows me to create new tags and create queries from these tags. The first thing you'll notice in this screen is that the tag folders that we created are shown in a linear format. One of the shortcomings of this Tag Management screen was the inability to widen the screen to clearly see all the tag names. In the new version of Concordance, this shortcoming was eliminated. The tags are shown in the nested folder structure that we just saw under the actual tag menu. One other thing that has been eliminated in the new version of Concordance is the use of persistent tags, which is under this tab here. When we view persistent tags, you'll see that all the same tags that we had initially created. However, when tags are first created, they will not have a persistent check mark next to them. Instead, the new tags will look like this. Persistent tags mean that these tags will remain in the database regardless of whether or not the tag has been used, meaning if there are records in the database tag using this particular entry. So, if a tag is marked persistent, the tag will stay within the database whether or not there are any current records marked with it. If the tag is not persistent, there must be at least one record in the database marked with it. If there is not, the next time you open up the database, the tag will disappear. This use of the two tag types has caused quite a bit of confusion, and therefore in the latest version of Concordance, this screen has been completely changed. All tags are simply persistent. This last tab here, the Validation tab, is also something that was carried over from the previous version. In the new releases of Concordance 2007, this tab is no longer necessary. Now going back to the Tags Issue tab, you can see that these various options on the right hand side basically do the same things that the tag menu here on the main screen does. I can create a search query from all tags, meaning I will get a result of all records in the database that have been tagged, or I can choose one or more tags and create a query of those. I can also bring up all records that have been marked for deletion or have been edited by clicking on either one of these buttons. So, if I click on the Deleted Records button, as you can see, I now see only the records that have been marked for deletion. I can also apply a tag to a list of documents currently showing on my screen with the Apply Tags or Remove Tags option. And I can also remove the use of all tags with this Clear All Tags option, or I can remove the use of one or more individual tags with this Clear Group button. But as I mentioned, these options are essentially now in the Tags menu here on the main screen. Therefore, you'll find that the latest version of Concordance 2007, the Tag Issue Management screen here is much more simplified. So, we've now gone through the tagging process within Concordance. Keep in mind that while we've done most of our tag manipulations within Concordance itself, in a real-world review, the tagging and issue coding decisions are generally based off of the image itself, since it does represent a much more accurate picture of what the document is about and what the document looks like. In the next lesson, we'll focus on the searching of Concordance databases.